Hi, you've reached Call Your Publicist, your go to source for PR moves, media moments, and brand strategies that keep businesses and people in the headlines for the right reasons. I'm one of your hosts, Jenna Guarneri, CEO and founder of JMG Public Relations.
And I'm your co-host, Alexandra Anastasio. Let's start talking.
So this we're going to classify as getting out of the Zoom chat. So you know when they talk about getting the girls trip out of the group chat?
That's cute.
Okay, so I did a little pun
Like
on
what you did there.
yes, a little play on words. We're taking what we consistently talk about on Zoom between myself, Arceli, you, and I thought it would be important to talk about it in this setting. And it's being authentic. I know it's a buzzword. We hear it all the time, but I wanted to speak about it more so for entrepreneurs and founders because we've done a lot with your strategy. And I think it's important for people to understand that it's not just a buzzword, but founders, entrepreneurs, they need to really understand how that relates to their business and why it's very important to stay true to who you are and what you stand for. And when you put that out there, what that means.
Yeah. Well, I think it's first important to share why thought leadership is such an important PR tactic right now, right? It's coming out of quarantine during that time of COVID. It just evolved so much. It became there's such an appetite now for genuine connections.
Yes.
Right? People don't want the corporations anymore trying to sell them. They want to feel like they know the person, that they are trusting that person. There's credibility behind that person. They want to see the face behind the
Yeah.
brand. They want more exposure into who runs these things,
Yep.
right? It helps them feel like they are supporting a brand that matters sometimes or that has meaning to them, right? There's a connection. It creates connections.
There's a lot, yes. And I think because there is a lot when we talk about brand selling, right? You're saying that it's not just nobody wants to be sold to anymore.
No.
It's so true because there's so much out there, right? There's so much, I call it noise in a sense, because you can go online, right? You'll go on your Instagram, your TikTok, whatever platform, and just things are coming at you left and right. And you just almost don't even know where to turn. So it's almost like who you want to be part of an experience. You want to feel connected to that person. If you don't feel connected, you're not, it's like with anything. If you don't feel connected, you're not going to want to work with that person. If you don't feel that they understand you, if they don't understand your pain points, if it is something that's supposed to help solve something, they're not going to get it. And I think that for entrepreneurs and founders who decide to launch a social strategy, well, or launch a social presence, I should say, strategy is everything. It's everything in PR, but it's everything that you do online as well. And I think if you just kind of say, oh, I'm going to wing it, it's not going to work.
Well, no, if you're winging it, your content winds up being all over the place.
Right.
And then you're not capturing people who feel like they're coming to you for this.
Right.
Oh, that speaks to them because it's relatable and I want more of that. There's no more because they don't know what you're talking about essentially or what you're a master of.
Right. And you need to stay consistent so that when your audience shows up, they know that every time they come to your page, they're going to get X. And I think not to toot our own horn, but I am going to toot it.
Go for it.
I'm going to toot toot. So I don't know how that sounds, but for oh my God, I'm laughing at myself. Toot, toot. Listen, sometimes we laugh on here.
Sally can't stop giggling.
I know. Our producer behind the scenes is laughing at me, and we're going to just show this is the raw, authentic moment, right? So if you want to know what working with us is like, sometimes I may come out with something funny. But the way JMG approaches it is we are known for certain things. And I think anybody who follows the JMG brand would know, okay, if I want educational information, I'm going to get it with a dose of pop culture, right? We do a lot of PR breakdowns on a lot of different things, right? It could be we're breaking down a campaign. We could be breaking down a moment, right? The Oscars. We could be breaking down, let's say, for instance, we just did one not that long ago about Gap, right? It's a brand that's a legacy brand that's been around for a really long time. And they turn to celebrities, right? And they have a latest campaign. So anytime you come to the JMG page, you know you're going to get education, but you're going to get it with a fun spin. And so we've been doing that. And I think we do it really well. And so that's, I think, one of the things that we're known for, right?
And it's because we're consistent, like you said, that's really important.
Yes.
And people know what to expect when they come to us.
Right.
And if they're following us, it's because they like that content.
Exactly.
That's how you get the followers, right? That's how you get people to click that little button that says follow and not just keep scrolling past.
So it's all about strategy.
Mhm.
Again, that is from a company perspective, right? So as your company, you want to show what you're about, right?
Mhm.
So we're showing that these are like, obviously we know PR, we're breaking it down, we're explaining it, we're giving education, right? So as a company, so think about if you are a business and you want to show up, how do you want to do it? Pick a way in which you want to do it, create that strategy, and then continuously. It takes time. There are times where we might create one that is insane. We're like, whoa, that just blew up. And then there's other times where it might not go as viral, but remember, it's all about quality, right?
Mhm.
It's the engagement, the conversations that are happening in those comments are what's important. We started doing that with your strategy and changing that as well a little
Mhm.
bit from a founder perspective. So it's now how you show up to your audience, and you want to lead with like direction, you want to lead with aspiration, and you want them to say, I want to be like that.
Yes.
Admit it, your phone feed is full of other people's highlight reels. The concerts, the games, the nights they'll never forget. When's the last time you were the one in the crowd? Event Ticket Center has been getting fans to those moments for over 20 years. And as one of the top secondary marketplaces in the country, they make finding seats easier than talking yourself out of going. Call Your Publicist listeners can get 10% off any tickets on their site when you spend $150 or more with the code CYP10. Stop watching others live their lives through a screen. Start showing up. Get tickets at eventticketcenter.com.
Absolutely. And I think too, what's interesting is that it's no longer just about an individual's personal brand. It's also tied back to a company's brand, because now these big corporations, and we're hearing this with so many people wanting to work with us, is that they want that thought leadership.
Right.
And they're big companies, but they want to pull in the face of the brand. They want to start to incorporate that into their strategy, which they haven't done before. So again, there's more and more people companies trying to do this. I mean, we saw this with McDonald's. We did a case study on this on my page, right? McDonald's CEO tried to do the thought leadership with him. It backfired a
well.
little bit because it didn't feel genuine. It didn't feel authentic. I think the execution wasn't
Mhm.
properly there. I think they recovered by making a joke out of it. And I think with all the other press they got from the other fast food chains copying them and what they did, it wound up being in good fun, right?
Right.
But the execution wasn't delivered properly in there. But so it's really important that when people start to do thought leadership, they understand what their purpose is,
Right.
what their intent is. And that perhaps could have been an example of not being strategic in the execution of that video, right? Perhaps just giving direction and letting him run with it versus understanding the intent about each bite. What does that mean, right? Looking at the full thing, what it could be perceived as. So it's really important that if we're going to put content out there, and that we're very intentional with our content,
Right.
that's why it works so well, being intentional and also be very strategic with it.
Yes. But I think too, it's also, you don't have to be perfectly staged. Meaning,
No, yeah.
be in the moment, be real,
Mhm.
because that's what people connect with, right? They want to, because listen, everybody's going to say, well, this is so perfectly put together and this is so staged. That's not how it happens in real life.
Right.
Now, granted, we're not saying show up in like your pajamas and
Yeah.
just start chatting. Although if you want to, hey, if
It
that
works for
works,
some people. It
exactly.
works.
But we're teaching, we're leading with ideas, and there may be times with, especially in PR, there's breaking news, right? Or there's something that happens. I don't want to call it a trend. I'm just going to call it like a PR moment that you need to jump on. You need to be part of that conversation. So when you just come at somebody from a real perspective, they can feel that and they can say, okay, you know what? She came on, she sat down, she explained it to us. It's her point of view. I'm getting something out of this. So I think that this really works because we've had clients who started off as just observers,
Mhm.
right? They saw what you were putting out. They liked the type of content you were putting out.
Yep.
They liked the messaging you were sharing. And so in their minds, they were like, wow, okay, this is who I need to be working with.
So many people, especially recently, are like, I love your content. I love what you said about this in this particular video.
Right.
People are paying attention, they're
Yes.
referencing. And so you can actually see the strategy working. And that's where, you kind of get that, I love that, the satisfaction,
Right.
right?
Well, because
we're
then
doing a good job. We're doing something right here.
and you know that it's working, right?
Mm.
Because in your mind, before you even start, you knew that it was going to work.
Right.
But two, that I've been seeing, which is true, that founders are the new influencers, meaning people
Mm.
want to hear directly from the person who has the experience and not somebody who's just trying to maybe make a buck off of it, right?
Correct.
They want to, I saw this quote, which I thought was really interesting. It said, people don't buy what mirrors them, they buy what pulls them forward.
Mm.
So they're not looking for brands or companies that are exactly like them. They want to be drawn to things that represent who they want to
The
become.
aspirational
Right.
component.
So that's where aspiration comes in. So it's about shaping what's next.
Mhm.
And as a founder or a leader, you're the one who has already been doing it, right? So now you're in that conversation. You can contribute to it. You have something to say, and you don't have to pay somebody to say it.
Yeah.
You're in it.
In it. And then you're also pulling other people into the conversation too, because you're now getting direct access as a perhaps consumer.
Right.
Now you can comment on McDonald's page and
Right.
they can engage back with you. And then also too, as a brand, now you can get real-time feedback and sentiment
Right.
from people in the real time versus having to do just surveys where they're organized and you have to pull people and it's a much longer
Right.
process. This shortens that and you can get and tweak things based off of that. So there's so much that you can get out of the thought leadership that will really help build the brand, help build the personal brand and company as well.
Right. Well, you're building that authority.
Mm-hmm.
So as you build that, right, you do it through repetition. So the continuous building of that, people will realize, okay, this person can help me solve a problem, whatever that problem may be, or help you get from point A to point B. But you've put, it's almost like the building blocks, you put them together, and then someone's going to look to say, okay, you know what? This is who I need to be aligned with
Mm-hmm.
because this is the person who's going to take me to the next level. And again, like in PR, it's all strategy. It's not just something where we sit down and say, oh, start posting this. There's intent behind everything somebody does.
Yes.
And when you see somebody show up online, whether it's on a podcast, social media platform, there was a strategy that came along with that.
Yeah.
Even if they're not perfectly staged, there was a strategy.
And I think it's important to add to that it's a long-term strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, there's the cases that things go by overnight. I mean, great, good for those moments.
Yes.
But it doesn't always exist that way, right? Even think about us. We were creating content for over 10 plus years at this point.
Right.
And then over the last year, where we really saw it go to the next level. I mean, we were seeing there was one post that went viral. Kim Kardashian liked it. Lindsay Lohan reshared it, right?
Or your daytime TV case study with Sherry
Yes.
Shepherd commenting.
I know.
I mean, how fantastic is that?
Love that. But
We love you, Sherry.
we love you, Sherry. And this is the stuff that takes that we, we didn't know when this stuff would
Right.
kind of have the uptick, but we kept our course.
Right.
We pivoted when necessary. We shifted. We tried new things. But we were very strategic in making sure that we kept up with this and we did a good job every single time.
And I think, too, one of the things that we did was also realizing when there's a trend, and we talk about this a lot in other episodes too, is that when there's trends, you don't have to be on every trend. You just have to be on the ones that relate to your business or that you can provide some sort of feedback on that for us, from PR's perspective, that you can give insight. So for anyone who's whatever business, if there's a trend, I mean, depends on what the trend is. If it's something cute and you're like, oh, we could do this, right? There was one with the baby pictures and everybody was posting that, but that could apply to any
Lighthearted.
industry, right?
Mhm.
Very cute. But then there's other trends that like people try to jump on, but it just doesn't.
Force.
Yeah, and it doesn't hit the mark because
Don't do it.
right, and then your audience can feel that, so they'll say, okay, I don't really know why so and so just did this. This is not really working.
wait,
Do they now know what they're doing?
Or if they're super late with it.
Yes, don't come to the party too
Don't.
late. If you are, we'll see you next time.
I'm going to create mugs for every one of your sayings. Just want
Okay.
a collection of mugs of your sayings.
All right, we'll let
So
you know when
good.
they're available.
You're right. You can't be late with it. So it's sometimes better off letting that trend just slide down. And just wait for the next one, be quicker in that execution.
But I think it's also too because people want to be in every conversation, right? They feel like, again, you've said this before, you don't have to be the loudest voice in the room, but sometimes everybody, I mean, I like to have a loud voice, but I shouldn't always be in the conversation, right? And it's true with anybody. You don't always have to have a say. Maybe you don't have the right thing to say.
And that's okay.
Yes.
Because there will be another conversation.
Right. Like
Yeah.
your mother used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. So my thing is you may not have to be in the conversation. But seriously, not every trend is for every person. And I think when you are all over the place without a strategy, your audience feels that. And
Yeah.
they might then say to themselves, well, why should I trust this person? Or why should I put my business in this person's hands when they seem like they're all over the map? It's like if you're scattered, why would I want to work with somebody who's scattered?
Right.
Especially if I'm a scattered person in general. Just say, I don't want to work with somebody who's all over the place.
You need someone that has the structure built
Right.
in, right? So I think it's important for viewers. The takeaway is where to start with this if they're just beginning their
Yes.
process of the thought leadership brand building. So it is start with the strategy, ask yourself, who is my audience and
Yes.
what do they want to hear from me? What
Right.
can I give them as an expert?
Yep.
Absolutely, you don't need to give them your secret sauce to anything.
No.
But they want some tidbits. How can I give them something that they can help them be better at whatever it is?
Exactly. And then the ones who will win long term are the ones who stay consistent. So it's all about understanding. I think if it's a founder, if you've built a business,
Mm-hmm.
you know that success most often does not happen overnight. So neither does this. It takes time. You said there may be a viral moment, but keep pushing forward.
Yes.
And that's how you build lasting authority in whatever industry, whatever space you're in.
Patience. Yeah.
Patience is a virtue, whatever that may mean.
If you have any questions about your thought leadership process and getting started, drop the comments below. We'll make sure to answer as many. Oh, thank you.